Okay. So in the previous lectures we were looking at DC circuits and DC stuff, but today we'll go to AC. So as I just told, AC is alternating. Okay. So alternating current is like the full form of AC. So but it also means alternating voltage. So you can also consider it as AV, which is alternating voltage, but this is not famous terminology, but we normally say alternating current. Okay. So why is it alternating current? So the debate whether DC is good or AC is good is as long as the debate of electrical engineering more than 100 years. So both of the different ways of generating and consuming the electricity. So both of them are very much theory, very much practice. So as electrical engineers, you should learn both of them, and you will notice that AC is slightly different, but then there are a lot of similarities also. So even before we go into electrical part of AC, we will just try to build some basics of it. So that's why we are not having any electric demonstration kind of thing today, but I will show you some of the basics of what is in AC. So first of all, how is AC generated? So there is a simplest kind of system. So you have a north pole and you have a south pole. So these two magnets, so there is a magnetic field, and these lines are so the magnetic flux or magnetic field or whatever. Okay. So when I draw the diagram like this, so the north pole and south pole may be generated through some electromagnet. Okay. Need not be permanent magnet, it may be an electromagnet. So what is an electromagnet? So when you send current in a wire, it creates some magnetic field, and when you use a core to collect that magnetic field, you will get a electromagnet. We will come to that. And then it's called simple loop generator or single loop generator. I'll just write loop generator. So what you do, you have one wire like this, another wire like this, and another wire like this, and then we are just so connecting this to some kind of support which can rotate it. Okay, it is just like two wires which are rotating inside the magnetic field. Okay, so when the position of the wires is, let's say, vertical or perpendicular to the magnetic field. Okay, so while it is moving, while it is rotating inside the magnetic field, there is a alternating voltage generated in that, and if you close this with some kind of circuit, some resistance, then whenever there is a circuit is closed, you will get the alternating current also in that. Okay. Now when it is vertical position, how much voltage is generated in the loop? So I heard maximum. Okay, but it's not actually true. When it is vertical position, see, the voltage generated is proportional to the rate of change of flux. Okay, so when the position is vertical, all the flux is linked to the coil, but then it is not changing much. The rate of change of flux is not much. So if it is exactly straight and then slightly rotated, still the amount of flux linking is not changing much. Okay. So the amount of flux is not important, the change of flux is important. So because the change so therefore for that reason, when the vertical position, the flux, the voltage is 0 volts that is generated in the loop. This was always confusing for me why it is and all that, and some of the places or some of the people who I have interacted, they said when vertical position it is full voltage and then horizontal position 0 voltage, but it doesn't matter, don't worry about as long as it is alternating. This is just a simple example to show how the voltage is generated. Similarly, when it is horizontal position, that means the plane of this loop is parallel to the magnetic lines. Okay, so at the time the lines are not entering or leaving the loop, but then even if there is a slight change in the rotation, then the amount of change in the flux is more. So maximum voltage gets generated when 90 degrees. Okay, So like that. So what is the, and you keep on rotating. So what is the proper mathematical function which represents this particular behavior of voltage being generated 0 to 90 and 90 to 0 and so on like that. So sine, okay. So I can just draw like this. Okay. So now this position corresponds to vertical position, for example. Okay. It's just a matter of taking the reference point. So I can define this is my 0 degrees, okay, and then let's say I am rotating this side or this side, whatever. Maybe you can say I am rotating left side. Okay. So like this and so on. Okay. So now after reaching 90 degrees, I'm reaching that point, and then the maximum amount of voltage is generated. Okay. So and then at 180 degrees, that means it's upside down but still vertical. Okay. Again I'll get 0, and then this one is 270 degrees. Okay, and then this is negative. In that sense, what happens is this line which was under the north pole now moves into the south pole direction, and the amount of voltage will become reverse. That's why it is alternating, positive, negative, and so on. Okay. So if I now draw the circuit, so for example this circuit itself, the symbol is like this, and then this is the resistance. So this is voltage. Now shall I say this is plus and minus? So problem is if this is plus and this is minus, after some time the minus will become plus, plus will become minus, and so on. Okay. But still we can still represent this is plus and this is minus, and this is just to give a reference that which like this one is going positive on the first half cycle. After starting from the reference point, it is going plus in this direction, just to indicate that we put this plus here. So it does not mean this is always plus, always minus. So this is plus minus changing, but it starts with a plus because I am referring my x-axis from here. Okay. So what is the units of x-axis? So in this diagram, the units of x-axis is degrees. Okay, but if I want to represent it in the form of a circuit, okay, the proper unit for the x-axis is time, seconds. Okay, seconds, or this is time. Okay, so you need some way of converting the degrees into time. Okay, so what is that? How do you convert the degrees into time? What? Okay, yeah, I hear terms like frequency, and I hear terms like what? Yeah, angular velocity is the word that I was thinking of referring. So angular velocity. So we know velocity. So what is velocity unit? Meters per second. Okay, 10 meters per second, 20 meters, that's my velocity. What is angular velocity? So ANG, angular velocity, radians per second. Okay, so this many radians is another measure of angle, as you already know. So radians per second is angular velocity. Okay. So in 1 second, how many radians it is covering? Okay. Like that. So now let's say the speed of this one, or let's define some more terms. T is the time period. Okay. T is the time period. That means if I start a clock at this point, okay, how much time it will take for the clock to to complete one cycle? 1 plus and 1 minus is one cycle. Okay. Let's say this point is, let's say 4 seconds. Okay. So in 4 seconds, that means this is 2 seconds. This is 1 second. In 4 seconds, I am finishing one cycle, and then again 8 seconds, 2 cycle, and so on. So in that case, capital T is 4 seconds. Okay. So what is my angular velocity? So let's denote it by omega. So what is omega? So so in 4 seconds, I cover 360 degrees, or in other words, I cover 2 pi radians. Okay. In 4 seconds, 2 pi radians is covered. Okay. So now what is the velocity? 1 second, how much? So this will be pi by 2. Okay. So the angular velocity for this one is pi by 2, like that. Okay. Or can there be a generalized formula? For example, in capital T seconds, I am covering 2 pi radians. So what is the general formula? Omega is nothing but 2 pi divided by capital T. Okay. So I can introduce one more terminology, that is F, frequency, nothing but 1 by T, just as a different measure. Okay. So this is 4 seconds per one cycle. Okay. How much is the time period is? For one cycle it is 4 seconds. Okay. So I want to reverse the units, cycles per second. Okay. So how to get cycles per second? Just simply 1 by T. Okay. So that is 1 by 4, that is 0.25. So the frequency of, let me write 5, the frequency of this one is 0.25 cycles per second. Another word is hertz. Okay, Hz. So the frequency of this particular waveform is 0.25 hertz. Okay. So that's about frequency. Okay. So we have sorted out the x-axis now. Okay. No longer we'll use the degrees because the degrees is not interesting. We want to represent it in form of time. Okay. So I can simply replace, I will just simply replace the degrees with time. Okay. I'll say 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second. Okay. And this is my seconds. Okay. Now if you connect the oscilloscope and measure the voltages, okay, so the x-axis of the oscilloscope is actually time. Okay, so that's why this is more convenient. Okay. So let's just do a quick review. If I say, I'll just remove all this. If I say frequency is 280 hertz. Okay. So now I want to write it here. So how do I mark this and this? The frequency is 280 hertz. So what is the time period? Okay, time period is 1 by 280 hertz. That is how much? 3.57 into minus 3 seconds. Okay, or in other words, I can write 3.57 milliseconds. Okay, so that means if this is 0 milliseconds, so then this one will be 3.57 milliseconds. Okay, this one will be half of that. Okay, how much is half of that? 1.78 millisecond. Okay, and this one will be half of that. So you get the idea. That's about frequency. Now, what is this one? That is called amplitude. And first of all, what is the units of y-axis? So it may be voltage, it may be current. Okay, because if I am measuring the voltage, then I'll call it a voltage and all these things. So this is the amplitude. Let's say this is 10 volts. Okay, so from here to here it is 10 volts. So and therefore automatically this also will be same 10 volts. Okay. Given this information, I want to represent. See, every time I don't want to draw the sine wave. Okay? I want to represent it mathematical equation. Okay. So how can I write it? So let's say V, small v is equal to, or I can say V of time. That means V as a function of time. So if I substitute the value of t equal to something, I'll get what is the value of V at that particular time. Okay. So how do I write it? 10 sine. So here I've already told the frequency is 280 hertz. Okay. So what is omega? 2 pi f or 2 pi by t. Okay, what is that? 2 into 3.14 into 280. How much is this? 1759. Okay. So since it's a very large number, you can actually neglect this part. 1759. Okay. So 1759 t is my representation of that particular waveform. Okay. So you want to verify whether this is correct or wrong. How do you verify? Okay, you can substitute the value of t, you can find it out. Okay, so for example, this 1.78 milliseconds is there. Okay, so if I substitute at t equal to 1.78 milliseconds, so what I will get? 10 into sine of 1759 into 1.78 into 10 power minus 3. So how much is this? So this will be sine pi. Okay, sine of pi is 0, so it is 0. Okay, so that corresponds to this one. So like that, any point on this, instead of drawing this waveform every time, I can simply write like this. Okay, so this is the first way of representing the sine wave. Okay. Now a small improvement on this equation. So what if 0 is not my origin point? Okay, so I'll just shift the origin point. Let's say I'll shift the origin point. So this is the sine wave going like this. So let's say this is my origin point. Okay, so I am measuring my time. So this is not 1.78 milliseconds. Let's say this gap, let's say it is 1 millisecond. Okay, so I am starting my clock at that particular time. Okay, so here it is 0 milliseconds. Okay, so now how do you change this equation to show this one? So this will be 2.78 milliseconds. This will be 4.57 milliseconds, but still the time period is same, the frequency is still same, just that I shifted my x-axis. Okay, so now how do you verify? How do you this one? So here, what do you want to do? Minus or plus? Pi by 2. Why pi by 2? So it's not quarter. 1 millisecond I given the time. So it's not. So what he's saying is, that's a nice answer which I like. In the place of t, you substitute t minus 1 millisecond. Okay, so 1 into 10 power minus 3 or 0.001. Okay, like this. Okay, so this equation will be representing exactly. So what happens is mathematical. Suppose I want to find out 2.78. What is the value? So I substitute 2.78 here minus this 1 millisecond will be removed. Okay, then it will again become 1.78 and this one will work out. Okay, again you get the correct answer. Okay. So I can expand these brackets. I can open 1759 into t minus 1759 into that this one. So how much is that? That will be 1.759 radians. Okay, so I can write it like this. We see the unit of this into this will be radians, because this is angular velocity 1759 radians per second, and this is seconds. So radians per second, second multiple, it becomes radians again. So in other words, I am finding how much angle is this one. Okay, so how much angle is this one? Can someone tell how much is that angle? See, 3.57 milliseconds represents 360 degrees. Okay, 1 millisecond represents how many degrees? I need exact value. How many degrees? So one answer he told approximately 120 degrees. We'll see, now we'll see how correct his approximation is. Okay. So can you just tell 3.57 millisecond represents 360 degrees. 1 millisecond represents how many degrees? 100 point. So 101 degrees, for example. 101 electrical degrees. Okay. So just about 9 degrees away. So even this is wrong. 98 degrees. Oh, you didn't say 110, you said 120. I forgot. So 19 degrees, it's large error. Anyway, so the point is 108 degrees. So I can write it like this. Okay, don't get confused. So I can write it like this: Vt is equal to 10 sine 1759 into t, or I'll just say 1759 t minus 101 degrees. Okay. So strictly speaking, this is not the nice way of writing it, but then see, this is in radians per second, multiply with time, then it becomes radians. Okay, radians minus degrees. That's actually not a. So it's like meters minus feet. So before doing the minus, you have to convert either all in meters or all in feet. Okay, but it is interesting or easy to for the human beings to get some feeling how many degrees. Okay, so we are not worried how many milliseconds or how many this thing. How many degrees is more intuitive understanding. Okay? So for the understanding of human beings, we use this kind of representation. This is always in radians, and this one is in this one. This one is in degrees. Okay, but you can also represent it in radians. Not a problem. So how many radians? We just calculated that, na? So 10 sine 1759 t minus 1.579. That's all. You don't have to write radians because it's understood it is radians. Okay. So, but this doesn't create nice picture or nice feeling intuition for what is that sine wave. How many degrees is it leading or how many degrees it's lagging. So we'll come to that. So so ultimately even this one, see 1759 again not a nice way of writing it. I'll write it like this: 10 sine 2 pi into 280 into t minus 101 degrees. Okay. So now what am I doing? So this 2 pi is always there because it's just the angular velocity units conversion. You are converting the frequency into radians. So just put the 2 pi separately. Now I know that the frequency of the wave is 280 hertz and I know the phase is minus 101 degrees and the amplitude is 10 degrees. So that way it is more convenient for humans to read. So this is how you will normally find, okay, the way it is represented. So when you are working with AC, you will find lot of equations like this. So don't get confused. Some textbooks they use all radians. Some textbooks they use mix of this one. So it depends on person to person also. Okay. So even see, I like this kind of thing because it's my preference. Okay. But some of you may say instead of this I will use the other notation, whatever. Okay. So the point is that whatever is the notation, you should be able to understand what it's trying to say. Okay. So that's about that. So far you have learnt two ways of representing the this signal or representing the AC voltage or AC current. Two ways. What are the two ways? One is you draw the diagram like this, and the second way is writing the equation like this. Okay. So I'll give you a third way. Okay. So the third way is just simply write 10 comma 280 comma minus 101. Okay. It's just a matter of writing. I can write it. Okay. It's like when you want to send a telegram, you want to use some shortcuts. Okay. So you don't want to, of course not today, you can always, today maybe I'll give a more latest example. So let's say you want to send an SMS or you want to write a Twitter message. So you will use some shortcuts. So this is a kind of shortcut. So instead of writing 10 into sine into all that things, I'll just write like this and then say this is my. So what do we call these three numbers? This is amplitude, and this is frequency, and then this is phase. Okay. Together all the three, let's call them characteristics of of alternating current or alternating voltage or alternating quantity. Alternating quantity is nice. So amplitude frequency. So if somebody tells you what is the amplitude, frequency, and phase, you can draw the this one. You can draw the write the equation and you can draw the characteristics. Okay. So with that, let's do some practice. Okay. See, three ways. So what is the first way? Characteristics, or let's say graph. And the second way of representation, so characteristics, I'll just write char, okay. And the third way of representation is the equation, the boring way. And nobody uses much of this. Okay, so actually there are 6 ways of representing, that also we are going to cover in this class. So the 3 more ways are, you can use a phasor, you can use a polar form, okay, or you can use a rectangular form, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. So if I give you phasor, you should be able to convert to other 5. Or if I give you, so these 3 things will do the next step. So but let's come back to this later. Let's work with these 3. Okay. So to save some time and to save some, for just matter of convenience, I have just made one exercise sheet kind of thing. So this is not an exam, so don't worry. So I'll just distribute this. So what I suggest is each one you take one, but then one is for rough work and the other is the final one that you will submit to me, okay. So but then if each one takes one, how can you take one for rough work and one for submitting? So for that you just work two people together, okay. So you two can take this. So one you will give it back to me, one you will keep it with you. So you can just take each one, take one, and then it's just a exercise kind of thing. So I think I'll, and the extra sheets give it back to me. Thank you. Okay, one thing I ask you to do is, first of all, start by, like if this is the sheet, start by writing your name and roll number. So since 2 of you are sharing each one, write 2 names and 2 roll numbers here. Write them neatly at the top right corner so that later on it becomes easy to give it back to you. And then if you see, there is example 1, example 2, example 3. Okay, so or you can call it exercise 1, exercise 2, exercise 3. On the left side you will see on that. Okay, so first do exercise 1. Okay, you got the, now see in the EX1. So I just want to, although I think you might have understood what to do and you're already doing it. So graph is given, find out characteristics and find out the equation. That is first one. Characteristics are given, find out the graph and write the equation. That is second one. And the last one, equations are given, find out this. Just fill in the blanks kind of thing. Okay, maybe I'll also do it here. So this is example 1. One two one two. So maybe we'll take quickly a minute to for you to complete. Then I'll just start explaining. Okay. You keep the board only. Yeah. Use 246. How is this? Uh, okay, let me ask you to just stop for a while. Let's finish this first one. Okay, so it's very easy. What is the amplitude of A? Amplitude is from here to here. What is the total height? Okay, you get 15. Okay, amplitude of A is 15. What is amplitude of B? 10. Okay, I hope there is no confusion here. Next, what is frequency of A? Okay, so for frequency, you have the x-axis is time. You find out the time. Okay, take A. Okay, one positive cycle and one negative cycle. Okay, so here it is 3 seconds. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 3 seconds to 9, that is 6 seconds. Okay, so T, capital T of A, time period of A is 6 seconds. Therefore, frequency of A will be 1 by 6. That is 0. Is it 166? 1 by 6? Alright, 0.167. Okay, so I can write it 0.167. Okay, what are the units? Hertz. And what are the units here? Let's say volts or things or currents, think whatever. What is the frequency of B? So there is one positive cycle, one negative cycle covered. So one cycle is 2 seconds. So one cycle is 2 seconds. So in 1 second, half cycle, 0.5 hertz. Okay, 0.5 hertz. Okay, that is the frequency of the B waveform. Okay, now what is the phase of A? So you see, this is the point where it is starting from 0 going up. Okay, and this is my reference point. Okay, from reference point to this point, how much is the distance? 3 seconds. Okay, how do you convert 3 seconds into degrees? So 6 seconds is 360 degrees. So 3 seconds will be 180 degrees. Okay, and it is minus because that's the notation. See, in the equation form, we have just seen. In the equation form, if the waveform moves right side, it will have a minus sign. Okay? You have seen that just some time back. So the phase of A is minus 180 degrees. Okay. So just please correct that in if whatever you have done. Okay. So some people will say the phase of A is minus pi radians. Okay. Also correct, but then you will see immediately that degrees is more intuitive for us human beings to understand. Okay. Phase of B, that's easy, 0 degrees. Okay, because this is just starting. Okay, and then the equation form, just quickly see here, this is 15 and this is 2 pi into 0.167 and then minus 180 degrees. This will be 2 pi into 0.5 into minus 0 or plus 0 degrees. Okay. So you might say, why to write 2 and 1 by 2 here? We can just cancel out and simply say pi t. You can write it, but then if I suddenly show that and say what is the frequency, then you have to back calculate. Oh, you have to see divide 1 by 2 and then okay, frequency. See here you can read and tell the frequency is 0.5. Okay. This is more convenient way of writing it, so that you can see and tell what is the frequency and what is the phase and what is the amplitude. So do the second one. So in the second one, now we are calling C and D. Okay, so 4 to 90 degrees plus 180 degrees. Okay, 8 and 4 seconds. So good, good. Yeah. And one more. Yeah.
Footnote 3.1.
It is 314.
Platform, the equations for all the waves generated as omega t plus phi.
What is omega?
The angular velocity, the
Yeah,
angular
the
rate.
value of omega is the omega t is also fine. Phi f t is also fine. Yeah, it is both are same. But if it is like slightly other than 180, like if it is 179, then you will find some. So what you can normally, it's just a matter of convention that if you are here, yes, can also write it plus or minus. Doesn't make a matter. But if it is 170, then it definitely makes. See, if I shift slightly here, if I draw a slightly round line at 0.1, you draw a line, then you will have to use minus sign. So that's why at 180 it is same. So next year when we are doing, I'll just change so that no, you should put minus because you can put plus or minus. This itself is this is fine. Okay, let's do the second one. So we are calling C and D as the this one. So first, what is the? Sorry, I I wrote this wrong, I think. So this is phase, and this is time period. So what is frequency? So what is the frequency of the C? The frequency is 1/8. So 0.125 hertz. What is frequency of D? 1/4, that is 0.25 hertz. Okay, that's about frequency. Okay. Now since it is 8 seconds, I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So this total 8 seconds should have one plus and one minus. Okay, that is for this C. Okay, and the phase is 90 degrees. Okay, so 90 degrees will be 2 seconds. Okay, so just for that, I'll just extend it. So the phase is plus 90 degrees. That means I have to move the waveform left side. Okay, so I start at maximum value, which is how much? 4. And then by the time it reaches 2, it becomes 0. Okay, by the time it reaches 4, it becomes negative maximum. By the time it reaches 6, it becomes 0. By the time it reaches 8, it becomes maximum. By the time it reaches 10, it becomes 0. What? So this is my C. So also, label it C. Is that okay? So did it match with what you have written? Okay, now let's do D. Okay. So what is the time? 4 seconds. If that means in 4 seconds I should cover one cycle, and then the phase is 180 degrees here. Okay. So I was just talking to one student here. So plus 180 minus 180 both are equivalent. See, there is a sine wave. Plus 180 means what you do? Move it left side by 180 degrees. There is a sine wave minus 180, move it right side by 180 degrees. So both are same. Okay. So in that case it is like that. So let's move it 180 degrees by this one. That means I should start going downwards. Okay. So 4 seconds. So 2 seconds it will be maximum. Okay, and the amplitude is only 2. So this amplitude is 4. So the amplitude will only be, so here it will be minus 2. Something like this. It will reach minus 2 here, and then it will go and touch 0 here. And then at 6 it will reach, sorry, time period is 4 seconds, right? So within 4 seconds I should have one positive cycle and one negative cycle. Like this. Okay. In 4 seconds there is one positive and one negative with 180 degrees shift. So this is the correct. And then, so here both are almost matching. Okay. So this is the, so you got the same. Yeah. And then equation is very easy. Just 4, and then F is 0.125, and then the phase is plus 180. Here 2.25. Oh, this is plus 90. Oh, this is plus 180, plus 90. Is that okay?
C is plus 90 and D is plus 180.
Oh, sorry. So this is plus 90, 180. Okay, I was just checking whether you will see or not. What next? So very quickly, without wasting more time, do the third one. Just take it out again. E and F. So this time equations are given. E equal to F equal to. Okay, did someone complete the third one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So many people completed. So let's see if it is. What is on the x-axis? In what units? Seconds? So, see, in this case, you can tell what is the unit of time in the case of equation. Yes, you can take it as 100 pi. So, did someone complete? Both are 20 milliseconds. 30. Yeah, looks like this is correct. Looks different or looks same. Okay. Yeah. Looks like it's correct. It's the same thing, na? I already saw. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. So it's okay. So let's work it out. So very quickly. So what is amplitude of E? 30. Okay. What is amplitude of F? 20. Okay. What is phase of E? 0 degrees. What is phase of F? 45 degrees. This is plus because plus pi by 4. What is time period of E? Okay. So omega equal to 2314, which is equal to 2 pi into F. Okay. So 314 is actually 3.14, pi will get cancelled kind of thing. So you will get F equal to 314 by 2 pi. This will be actually 50 hertz. Okay. You will get 50 hertz as the frequency. Okay. So this is actually the supply frequency that we are receiving from our electrical connections, electrical plugs here. Okay. So if I connect a oscilloscope to this supply, and then if I measure that in an oscilloscope, it will show frequency of 50. Okay. So what is the time period? 1 by 50, which is 20 milliseconds. So this is capital T. So time period is 20 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds, or if you are interested in frequency, 50 hertz and 50 hertz. Okay, so that's the first part. Now how do you draw the graph? So let's take the easy one. Let's take E. Okay, 0 degrees phase, so no problem. So since the time period is in milliseconds, my x-axis also I'll put it in milliseconds. Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20 milliseconds. So 25, 30, 35 and 40. Okay. So in 40 milliseconds, I will cover 2 cycles. Okay. So one cycle is here. Oh, sorry. So maybe like this. Like this. Okay. So this one, I'll say it is 30, and then this I label it as E. Okay. So what is F? F is same, 20 is this one, plus 45, that means I have to move it left side by 45 degrees, okay. So you have to move the whole sine wave left side by 45 degrees. 45 degrees is how many seconds or how many milliseconds in this case? So 20 milliseconds, 180 degrees, 90 degrees is 5 milliseconds. So 2.5 milliseconds is the 45 degrees. So the nice way of doing it is just draw it back and then mark a point, maybe this length, half of that length, 2.5 milliseconds. Okay. So maybe I'll use green color maybe. Okay. 2.5 milliseconds from and then start your graph like that. So by the time, because the frequency is same, the time period is same, it will be same length. So I'll just take 2.5 backwards here, 2.5 backwards here, and then, so but this is only 20. So I'll just stop here, something like this. Okay. So I hope you got something similar like this. Okay. So with this we complete this sheet. So maybe now, since I already told you the answers, you may not have to return this back to me, and there's no point in me correcting. Just check with your this thing, find out the answers whether it is matching or not. Okay. Now I want to introduce one more terminology, which is the concept of leading and lagging. Okay. So what you do is, see, this is going like this. Okay. So this is the time axis. Okay. So the green one, this is F, and then this is E. Okay. So the maximum point is here, and the maximum point is here. Okay. So if you look at the time, which one is reaching the maximum point first? Okay. Which one is reaching higher maximum point? That is definitely E. But which one is reaching the maximum point first in time? That is F. Okay. So F is leading E. Okay. So F may be voltage, E may be current, or F may be voltage, E may be voltage, both may be currents or whatever. Which one is reaching the maximum point first in time, which is on the left side? That one is leading. Okay. F is leading E by 45 degrees. Okay. So that leading, lagging are always mentioned in degrees. Okay. You can also use radians, but degrees is more convenient. Okay. So F is leading E by 45 degrees. So that is the terminology. What else? I think we have seen 3 different ways of representing. Let's see 3 more different ways of representing. Before going to that, I'll ask you some questions now, just very simple ones. Let's say there is an AC circuit, and in that AC circuit it is something like this. This current is I1, this current is I2, and obviously this current will be I1 minus I2, whatever. Okay. So something like this. So here you are seeing the case where addition and subtraction of alternating quantities. So if I1 represents an alternating quantity, let's say A1 sine omega t plus phi 1. Okay. See, I am assuming that all my omegas are equal. See, in a given circuit, I am using only a single wave for a single omega value. Okay. So I2 is equal to A2. That's why I am not putting omega 1, omega 2 plus phi 2. Okay. So the phi 2 or phi 1 itself may be a negative number. In that case, you can also represent both ways. Okay. Now, what is addition of 2 sine waves? Okay. Addition of sine waves. Is it also a sine wave? See, if there is a sine wave, add another sine wave, will I again get a sine wave? Some people saying no, some people are saying yes. Interesting. This omega is same. I'll just give some clue. Okay, the omega is same. If you add 2 sine waves, see there is a sine wave. So you can look it in your own drawing. Let's look at the A one, first one. Okay. the first example, if you add both of them, will you get a sine wave at each time? So we have something like this and then something like this. Okay. So here the frequencies are different. If you add them, you will lose the shape of the sine wave. Okay. But look at the last one. Both of them, exercise 3, both of them are 50 hertz. Okay. If you add two sine waves, you will also get a sine wave. Okay. Okay, what about this? What is sine A plus B? Sine A cos B plus cos A sin B, and then this in turn you can write it separately in terms of sine of A plus B by 2 or something like that. You can write it. Okay. So I don't want to go into mathematics now. So just you can see addition of sine waves again gives you sine wave. Condition is the frequency must be same. Okay. Subtraction of sine waves. So I have two sine waves. I'll do A minus B or B minus I1 minus I2 or voltage 1 plus voltage 2, something like that I do. Then sine wave. Yes. So addition or subtraction doesn't matter. You will get a sine wave as long as the frequency of the both the waves is same. Okay. Now let me make it a little more complicated. I'll say integration of a sine wave. Okay. So I'll take this equation, this one. I'll say integral of I1. Okay. What is integration of this one? It's again a sine wave. Okay. Maybe having different properties. Okay. Different amplitude, different things like that. But it's again a sine wave. Okay. Of same frequency again, even if you integrate it. So obviously the next question is differentiation. Differentiation of sine wave. So again you will get a sine wave, okay, again of the same frequency. Okay. So this sine wave, that's why when we are doing this analysis and all, it's very convenient to do this kind of things, because there are some elements which are having this feature of differentiation integrating kind of thing. Now I'll ask you a question like this. So with this understanding, see we are notice we skipped the multiplication and we skipped the division. Okay. So now we'll ask. I'll ask that question. So this is a voltage given by 20 volts sine let's say 314t plus 20 degrees. Okay. So this is the voltage which I am applying here, plus minus, okay, like this, and I am connecting a resistance of 10 ohms. Okay. So what is the equation for current? Okay, so I heard the answer simply 2 into sine of, so this part will remain same, just this 20 will become 2. Okay. See, Ohm's law works at t equal to 0 seconds, Ohm's law works at t equal to 1 millisecond, 2 millisecond, whatever is the time, Ohm's law works at that particular time, taking that particular voltage at the time and current at the time, and then you are just, see, just Ohm's law, V equal to IR, so just divide it. Okay. So if you look at the graph, so if this is, let's say, voltage, so maybe the current will be like this. Just only amplitude will change, the phase and angle will remain same. Okay. So that's why there is no problem of division by 0. Okay. See, I equal to V by R. Okay. So yeah, anyway, if V becomes 0, then whatever value of R, I also becomes 0, and then you will get something like this. Okay. Now I can ask the question, what is power? Power consumed by this resistance. Okay, V into I. So what is V into I? So I'll write it small p is equal to small v into small I. That means these are all alternating quantities changing with time. Okay. So the value of p is constant or variable? Okay. So I'll just So this is V, this is I. Okay, because they are in phase. Okay, lagging or leading is not there. The phase difference between them is 0 degrees. So what is plus into plus? Plus. Okay, so you will get the power as something like this. Okay. What is minus into minus? So also plus. So you will get again power like this. Okay, like this you will keep getting power like this. So is this a sine wave? So okay, you are saying it's a modulus of sine wave. Okay, it's not exactly a sine wave; it's a modulus of sine wave, whatever. So what is the value of power consumed by the resistance? Okay, so I hear some intelligent answers. The power is actually, you cannot tell what is, see this is time and this is power in watts. Okay. So what is the power if I say, you will say at what time are you asking the power? See at some time the power is 0, there is no power flowing. But at sometimes the power is some value, maximum value. Okay. So by the way, what is this maximum value? So amplitude of V into amplitude of I, so 20 into 2, 40 watts. Okay. So here the power is 40 watts and here the power is 0 watts. Okay. You can think of a concept called average power. Okay. So that's what the answer I was hearing. So since it's a time varying thing, I can average it out and then I can find the average. Okay. So how to find the average? So integration will give you area under the curve, integration divided by total time will give you this thing. Okay. So I'll leave it as an exercise for you to do. We'll just come to that point in the next lecture, because right now we are only thinking about some kind of basics of AC. So we'll come to this later. What is the exact power? Is it 20? Is the average 20? So I heard most of you are saying it's not 20, because 0 to 40 the average is 20. So it's not like that. So what is the answer? You were saying root 20 or 20 root 2. 20 into square root of 2. So where did this root 2 come from? Is this also correct? So how much is that? 20 into 1.414. Okay. So 28.28 watts. Okay. So I'll say this circuit or this resistance consuming 28.28 watts every second. Okay. Or I can just simply say watts. We'll come back to that. How this root 2 is coming, we'll come back to that maybe next class. But important thing to notice is that maximum 0, maximum 0, maximum 0, maximum 0. Okay, so that is there. What does it mean? Let's say there is a lamp. Okay, there is an electric lamp, and then I am applying a AC voltage. Okay, so this is a lamp. Okay, something like this. Okay, what happens to the brightness of that lamp? So according to this, it should keep changing. Okay, so if the frequency is 50 hertz, okay, so from here to here, how many milliseconds? Just now you are done. 20 milliseconds. 50 hertz, 20 milliseconds. 1 by 50, 0.002 or whatever, 20 milliseconds. That you always have to remember. Our India, our supply frequency, not only here, many other countries, frequency is 50 hertz, so time period is 20 milliseconds. Frequency is 60 hertz, time period is 16.67 milliseconds. That's a detail. And what is here? 10 milliseconds. Okay. In 10 milliseconds, I reach maximum, come to 0. Again 10 more milliseconds, each maximum, and so at 5 milliseconds, the value reached is maximum. Okay. So like that. So my question is, what happens to the brightness of this lamp? Is it continuously same brightness, or is it changing? Okay. But do you notice that? So when you walk outside, you have a AC lamp connected to AC. And when you see it, you don't watch it. Why? Yeah. So 10 milliseconds is too fast, you cannot see it. Okay. So how do you see it? If you want to, so I heard some high speed camera you have to use and things like that. So maybe you can try it. Okay. So I know some of you are doing the other course which is always carry your camera. Okay. This is now you have to take a video. Okay. Take a video of a bulb, and you should take the video so fast, so maybe 1,000 times faster or something like that, or should I say slowly take the video or fastly take the video, I don't know. But can you put your camera or video to the light, and then can you see that it is doing like that? Okay. So you try to do that. Okay. So we still have 10 more minutes. I want to show you a quick video. I made such kind of video, but then in a very low tech and nice way. But then for that you have to wait for the rainy season to come. I'll just keep the suspense for some more minutes. But in the meantime, I'll tell you about the other ways of representing. Okay. So phasor, okay, is very simple. I'll write the equation 30 sine 314t plus 25 degrees. Okay. If this is your signal or value I, this many amperes of current is flowing. Okay. So how do you represent it in the phasor form? Okay. So before that, polar form. Okay. In polar form, you will simply write 30 angle 25 degrees. Okay. Strictly speaking, this should be 30 divided by root 2, but we'll come to that later. So 30 25 degrees. Okay. This is a polar form of representation. Okay. Just a shortcut. Okay. So because in all my circuit, the frequency is same. Like if there are 10 voltages and 40 currents, all the voltages have same frequency. Every time I don't want to write down the frequency also. I'll just write down the amplitude and the phase. This is the only useful information. Okay. But then strictly speaking, this should not be 30, this should be 30 by root 2. We'll come to that later, something called RMS value. But for the time being, this is polar. So the same thing you draw in the form of a graph. This is 25 degrees and this length is 30. Okay, that's all. So this is polar form of writing, and this is phasor form of writing. It's actually a graphical form of doing the same thing. Okay. So the advantage is it's convenient for additions and subtractions. See, if I want to do 30 plus, see, one current is 30 at phase of 25, another current is 40, or make it 10 at the phase of 90 degrees. Okay. If I want to do I1 plus I2, okay, so I can do it like this. So this is I equal to 30, and then this is I1, and this is I2. Okay. So I can do I1 plus I2, 90 degrees. Because the angle is 90 degrees, and this is the total current. Okay, what is this length? What? So see, I'll write it like this: I3 equal to I1 plus I2. But since these are phasors, I give a bar at the top. It's not mathematical addition. It's not 20 plus 30, or 20 plus. It's not 30 plus 10, 40. It is 30 at 25 degrees, 10 at 90 degrees. You have to do that addition. How to do that? So you can resolve into components. What is the x-axis component of this one? 30 sine 20, cos 25. Okay. So if I do this, this is the x-axis component plus 30 sine 25 degrees y-axis component. So to represent it is y-axis component, I'll just simply put I here. I is the imaginary number. Just to see, because I cannot add a real number with another real number, I can directly add it. Imaginary number with another imaginary number also I can directly add it. So just to highlight that this is vertical, this is horizontal, I am putting I. Okay. Plus 10 cos 90 plus 10, what is that? Sin 90. So here I will put I again. So now this one you will add it. This one you will add it. So basically this is rectangular form of representation. Okay. So polar rectangular form. These three other forms are there. Maybe you can look it up and then find out. So in the last 5 minutes, I want to show you some video. So maybe we'll just focus on only this one. Okay, this was the one which I just gave you. So the print.